recording.
That's a real song, huh?
Yeah. This is the real song. It's not what he did.
What's the guy's name?
His like one-man show.
Damien something.
That's not helpful to our listeners.
You went on a YouTube binge and you can't even remember?
This is probably playing underneath our intro music, and it probably sounds like crap.
Damien Robitaille? Robitali? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Make my day.
Oh, why?
Oh,
Make my day.
It's a puppy.
Wait my day.
What?
Wait my day. Wait my day.
No.
Wait
No,
my
no.
day.
Back it up.
All right, no.
Back it up.
Macros jokes.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to With That Being Said, a Rue Fitness podcast.
I haven't had enough coffee for that.
Feeling good this afternoon after being up at 4:30 a.m. Emily.
Yeah, this is how I woke up. Did you hear this story?
I heard this story.
What is the first thing that
Bradley's
happened?
alarm goes off. I made a request that he pick a less aggressive ringtone for his alarm. Oh my gosh, it's like at 4 o'clock in the morning.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not that bad.
Mine like plays a beautiful little song, and it like gets louder as it goes.
The big thing is the increase in volume.
Okay, but his alarm goes
It's
off,
abrupt.
and he like didn't know where he was, and just like smacks me in the face the very first thing.
Apparently,
I
you
was
thought
like,
you were facing
"Ow."
the other direction.
It was hard enough that my knuckles hurt this morning.
We recently
Oh,
switched
no.
sides of the bed.
That's right.
So he is very unaware of where he is at night.
It's true. It's true.
So anyway, good morning to me. So I need this coffee too. I got smacked in the face at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, you got up and did stuff, right?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I had to get both kids off to school by myself.
Wow.
Oh, wow. So you know what it's
Pat
like
me on the
now.
back.
Now you know what it's like.
Stop.
Okay.
All right. With that being said.
With that being said, I am Bradley Schneller, the mayor of Rouville for the time being.
For the time being, what's that about?
I don't know.
Okay.
We also with us
at 4:30 in the
the
morning?
COO of Rue Fitness and director of Stacked Coaching, Miss Emily Schneller. And we have with us the Alvin Kamara of everything at Rue and Stacked, Miss Sarah Altabello.
It me.
I didn't say Taysom Hill.
No, you didn't. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like the awesome running back situation.
Also, you complete a lot of the passes you throw.
Damn.
Shit. Taysom, you a boss,
Shots
brother. You a
fired.
boss. You a boss. You just completion percentage isn't that high. So, love you though. If you ever want to come on the podcast, talk about your nutrition because you do look jacked AF. So I'll say that. We'll get our people on it. Anyway,
What are we
We'll
talking
have our
about
people
today,
talk to your-
Bradley?
what are you talking about today? So, this is why we decided to talk about this. Is I had a minor meltdown. Would you say minor or was it major?
So, another morning, not this morning when I got
Not
hit
this
in the
morning.
face. Another morning, we were getting the kids ready for school. And that's always kind of a stressful time when you have a 3-year-old who's very particular over what she wears and like throws herself on the floor if you put the wrong barrette in her hair.
It's true. It's true.
But Bradley was real grumpy one morning and just like short with everybody. And if Brennan didn't put his shoes on quickly enough, he was like, rah, just like grumpy, right?
Jeez.
So he leaves to take Brennan to
Major
school.
meltdown.
He leaves to take Brennan to school. And I get a text and he's like, I'm sorry, I was so grumpy. I'm really upset about my weight this morning. That was the text message that I got.
So there it is. So everybody piggybacking off of this.
I mean, at least you got there quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
no,
happened,
it was.
you got in the car, you
got the text
separated
before
yourself.
8 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like right after you left. You recognized that you were grumpy. You recognized that you needed to apologize. You recognized why. And
Yeah.
we went from there. And everything was fine.
So if you didn't listen to the male body dysmorphia episode, go listen to that. But
That gives you even more context.
right, like
Yeah.
this doesn't go away. You know, despite the fact that we are all nutrition coaches here in this room, despite the fact that we've been doing this for a long time, when the scale does something you were not expecting it to do, it kind of jacks with your head some. So
Oh, and even to give more context to the story, do you remember what happened that night? The morning you were grumpy, do you remember what happened that night?
Oh, shit. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so tell the listeners.
You so.
Okay, so
This is new information for me.
our
think I told
son
you.
gets pretty regular nightmares / nosebleeds in the middle of the night. It's very odd. I've talked to his doctor. There is no major concern, but it happens. Okay. So Brennan wakes up in the morning, in the middle of the night, and his bedroom is upstairs and we sleep downstairs in the master. So he runs down the stairs, trips on the stairs and falls and is like screaming bloody murder at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, and so that wakes our daughter up, and then everybody's up, okay? And Bradley ended up sleeping with Vivian upstairs while I comforted Brennan. And
Forehead to forehead. It was pretty cute.
Yeah. And slept downstairs, okay? So everybody's night of sleep was not
Shit.
great, okay?
Total shit.
And then he weighs himself in the morning, every single morning, which is a good habit to get into when you are super dialed in with your nutrition. It's something that we ask our clients to do when they're getting into the more advanced stages of what we do with coaching and nutrition. And so he weighed himself that morning and freaked out. Okay, that gives even more context.
Well, if I'm to bring it up, actually, okay, it was an ongoing thing since the Saturday morning after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So the context is November 3rd, I was at 173.4 pounds, okay? And by November 17th, let me check to make sure. Yes. No. November 19th, I got all the way down to 167.3 and maintained there for a while. And then on November 30th, so actually November 29th to November 30th, I went from 169.8 to 171.5, which is not a big deal.
Okay, so let's talk about what was happening in your brain. Why did you freak out? What was the story you were telling yourself?
The story I was telling myself is, this is it. I'm going back to where I was. I'm going to lose everything that I have gained until now.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. Okay.
It's irrational. It's not stupid.
It's irrational. Mostly because I had a pretty consecutive trend of going down every single day, which is also, like, in hindsight, irrational to think that was just going to happen forever, especially with the fact that I'm eating 2,500 calories a day. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's pretty nuts to think, what am I going to be, 125 pounds in
Right. And something
40 days? Like, that's
something
stupid.
we've started telling clients is, like, when they get into the more advanced stages, weighing themselves every day, because week to week, we might not see a big difference, but we're trying to see the overall trend.
Right.
Yeah, so you don't want to see snapshots. It's very valuable information for us when we're recommending specific targets for people to look at the trend and the averages and not just what happens day to day, because day to day, you should expect to see yourself fluctuate. And we'll go into all of the reasons why in just a minute. But I think that it's a really common response that people have is, oh my gosh, I've been putting in all of this work, and they suddenly see a jump in the scale. And sometimes it's like 4 pounds overnight, and they're like, oh my God. And then they feel like all of their work is for nothing, and they want to stop weighing themselves.
Yep.
They want to stop the plan. They want to stop everything because everything is for nothing.
And it's funny, we've talked about this specifically in terms of fitness, and, like, you just have to show up and give it your best every day, but that's different every day because of all of the other circumstances in your life. And the same is true, like, with nutrition.
Yeah.
And if I look back, and this is what's really silly, is if I actually look back, because we talked about how I weigh myself every day, and I've been doing it for about 60 days now, every day. And if I look back, quite often I have days where I jump 2 pounds.
Yeah.
I jump 3 pounds, and then I jump back down.
Yep.
And for some reason, I ignored all of that in my head. I didn't go back and look at all these data points I had, which was one of the good reasons to weigh yourself daily is you can see these data points, right? What were you going to say?
Yeah, let's talk about that because I say this a lot, but what I used to do, so for people that don't know my story, like I am a recovering CPA. I used to be a financial analyst for a Fortune 250 company. That used to be my job, is looking at data, trying to spot patterns, trying to recommend decisions for the people, the higher ups to make on the business. And that's still what I'm doing. I'm still looking at data. That's why when we talk to people about what stacked coaching is, the clients, the people that we are working with, they're playing data collector, and the coach is like, okay, let's look at everything, big picture. Let's tell a story behind it. Let's try to pick out the bright spots and the things that people struggled with and help them make it a little bit better each week. But it's still exactly what we do, even with numbers. And that's why weighing yourself every day, being consistent with your targets and logging everything, being consistent with even logging your habits and seeing that trend over time.
Let's talk about those data points, because I track a lot of things. I track not only all of my macros and my weight every day, but I track sleep. I'm tracking. I have a general idea of how much water intake I have.
Yeah.
And then notes about my day and things like that. That's in my tracker as well. Stress. So here's where the freak out really happened. It didn't happen that day when I jumped 2 pounds. The next day, I jumped another pound. And that was the minor freak out. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the day after, I jumped again up. So 3 days in a row, and that was kind of like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. This is a little,
because you know what you have been doing on the food intake part, and that
which
part
was
has been
my
super dialed in.
macros were on point, and my calories were on point, exact to the T. For those of you who didn't know, I actually weighed all my food for Thanksgiving. Alcohol intake,
including the pumpkin cheesecake that I made.
I made Emily create a recipe in MyFitnessPal, and she weighed every single ingredient that went into her pumpkin cheesecake.
Yeah, and I would even venture to say that after that second day, your stress was a little elevated. You were more aware. You were like, "That's 2 days in a row."
It's 2 days in a row, and then the third day happened,
and
it was
you were
4 alarm
already
fires.
Like teetering on the brink of being like upset about it.
Right.
And it went up again, and suddenly it was like, "Well, shit, this is exactly what I predicted." Like.
Yeah.
Now,
so thinking back on what happened leading up to that, what are some things that you think were driving that increase in weight?
Yeah, well,
because it wasn't your food intake that remained the same.
There was a lot of things. Okay, the first one, I have been like the most stressed out I have ever been over the last 3 weeks. Okay, home stress, work stress. We had a couple of coaches get COVID. Okay, which completely flipped.
Stretched thin, yeah.
Yeah, we were already stretched thin. It completely flipped the schedule out, and then all of a sudden, the three of us are running around like our chickens with our head cut off. Combined with a bunch of other stuff that I was already dealing with. Okay?
And I mean, let's just also mention that we finally got all of our coaches back, and we randomly had to shut down because of plumbing issues.
Yeah,
just
2020, y'all.
Could not control. It was stuff that was 100% out of our direct control.
Yeah. So I had that. Stress was, for me, at an all-time high about 3 weeks in a row. Okay. I couple that with the kids have been wonky with their sleep, and
thanks, daylight savings.
Yeah.
Which means you have been wonky with
I've been wonky with my sleep, and then I haven't been helping matters because anyone who knows me, shout out to Janet Jackson, you know that I am super into the NBA, and I love NBA free agency, and NBA free agency is like a wacky ride where I'm trying to look up signings at like 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Emily knows this. I've been trying to really get rid of my phone, but with NBA free agency, it was like Twitter.
Line.
I got a sore thumb from scrolling on Twitter. Okay. So that happened. And then we started a new show. And we've been staying up a little later for that. And it's just been kind of a shit show of epic proportions for my normal routine. Yeah. On top of that, okay, even though I have been on point with my macros and on point with my calories, I have been eating things that I don't normally eat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say
Okay.
next.
So I had the pumpkin cheesecake Thanksgiving, the day after that, the day after that.
Because it was delicious.
Now
I
people
did
might
not
think
get
that's
any.
crazy. That's
So-
crazy, but I accounted for all calories. I accounted for all fat grams and all carbs.
he
We're
weighed
all
out
loaded.
50 grams of
Cheesecake, and that was it.
and
That's
that
what I
was
had,
it.
you
He
know?
ate it in a little like snack cup.
I did. That's true. And so it's something that I don't normally eat.
Yeah.
I don't normally eat that high levels of sugar or Teddy grams. So
The crust was Teddy Graham.
the crust was Teddy grams.
That's awesome.
I bought ginger snap cookies to make the crust with because that's what the recipe called for, and we tried them. We're like, these are disgusting. So I'm like, what else can I make a crust with? Brought out the Teddy Grahams.
Yeah.
And so I think part of what happened is right around this time, all this things coming together, like my stress level was coming back down, okay? And I was kind of getting over all that stuff. But now it's time for my body to heal,
Yeah.
right? Like heal itself mentally, physically, because I have been taxed out of the wazoo. And whether you're doing a stressful workout, something that you don't normally do, or if you injure yourself, or if you were just mentally and physically taxed from stress, your body will retain water. It'll create water retention in order to protect yourself, which is fluid gain, so
Yeah.
weight
And
gain.
the
Yeah.
point of that is we know that you are not fatter.
Right.
Because you have been tracking your calories, and fat loss, you need to be in a caloric deficit. You have maintained that, right?
Yes.
So we know, because we can look to the data, that you may be heavier, but that doesn't mean that you have more fat.
Correct.
And it's hard because you're using the scale as a data point, but we've fought, and I think this goes back to like the episode last week on body dysmorphia and in general, talking to some other people today. We've based so much of our self-value on what the scale says. And even to this day, we have some, I consider, archaic ways of saying whether people are healthy or not. Like BMI is a perfect example. And like your job, your health insurance, things are affected by this number does not take into account your visceral fat, your muscle mass. Like you could have someone really short, got a ton of muscle on them, and they might get screwed by insurance because their weight is high and it puts their BMI
Well,
through the
here's the funny thing is 2 of those 3 days, not all of them, but 2 of those 3 days, because if you listen to last week's episode, my routine is I get up before anybody, okay? I go to the bathroom, I get naked, I weigh myself, I turn all the lights on, and I look at everything. That's what I do, okay? Every single morning. In 2 of those 3 mornings, I thought I looked pretty fucking jacked.
And what happened after you got on the scale?
Well, so
Or
that
was after you got on the scale?
Yeah.
You
So
looked-
later in the day,
Yeah.
I felt jacked, but I knew I looked jacked in that morning. But because I looked at the scale first, it totally warped how I was viewing myself in the mirror. It was so bizarre. Where I felt lean, but I'm like, the scale says you're not.
It's incredible.
The scale says you're not.
What stress in your head can do to you. So I remember the first time we did beach brawl, went in and I didn't know some tricks now I would know at the competition, like trying to eat the way you're going, like eating normally that day and
Right.
all of those things. So the day of the
People tend to not
competition,
eat during
I
competitions.
felt funky. I felt bloated. I felt gross. And then I created this preconceived notion that that's just how competition day was. And so I remember Raging Games, I was super freaking lean going into that. And that morning I realized it was just stress, but I made sure I had everything. I had all my food packed to a T, but I had set myself up the night before for being like, you are going to wake up and feel like trash garbage. And I did.
So, yeah, of course you did.
totally
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. The other point that I wanted to make about what you said, the scale is saying one thing and looking in the mirror, you're thinking another thing. That's why part of the data collection process at Stacked Coaching is taking photos.
Yeah, and a lot of clients don't want to do it, but we implore them to because
Oh my gosh, it's so
it's so
valuable.
important. Also, the pictures tell a different story than what you might tell yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because you're going to give your coach the chance to look at it and I did this with a client the other day. They put in their tracker how they felt bloated, which could be true.
Yeah.
It could be very true. Okay. But they felt like they were disappointed because the scale wasn't moving that much. And I said, okay. And I took their beginning photos and then their photos that week, and I made a collage. And I pointed out, look, here, and here.
Yeah.
It's obvious. And they were like, oh, shit, it is. And so for that person, those pictures were so valuable so that they could see their progress despite the scale might not saying exactly what that progress was.
It's really hard to feel change when you're part of the system that is changing. You see yourself every day, so you might not even realize all of the changes that are happening until you compare those photos and you're like, oh, like even if the scale hasn't moved a whole lot, you can compare those photos and see body composition changes.
I mean, you've always heard that, like, maybe family you see infrequently or friends, they're the first to notice change.
Yeah.
Then it's the people you see every day, maybe your spouse, your partner, your coworkers that you're with day in and day out, and you are the last one to see it.
Yeah, 100%.
And we've talked about like collecting data, but that's why we have so many data points for you to collect all the time, because they show different things, and you can get an overall trend from tracking everything and not just one thing.
I want to say this though, because like, when this happened and we decided to do a podcast on this and we started really diving into the scale and the three of us discussing it and looking up more information, I have clients that will come to me and they are disappointed in their scale, okay? And at the same time, you look at their workout logs and they've worked out like 7, 12, 15, 18 days in a row without a rest day, okay? So when you do the type of workouts that we do, and I don't mean like going for a jog or walking in the park, but CrossFit style functional fitness workouts, and you do not give your body a chance to rest, it's basically like you're slamming your body into a wall every day, okay? And your body needs to protect itself. So in order to protect itself, it's like we talked about before, it automatically retains water, creates water retention.
Well, water airbags.
Water airbags, yeah, because it's trying to protect your body from injury.
That's what working out is.
And so you become bloated, and then you're like, well, fuck, I need to work out because I'm heavy and I don't look, I'm bloated. And it's like, no, well, just fucking take a rest day. Just take a rest day. Just take a rest day.
We've talked about so we say like exercise is a good stress, but exercise within reason is a good stress. You can make it a bad stress. Y'all would actually really like this guy named Ed Haynes. His brother was like the first CrossFitter from Hong Kong to go to the games a couple years ago. Ed has like a huge online community and started a podcast, and he's been very honest. He got a whoop and he kind of tuned out, but he was like, I felt bad. And his recovery for like 2 weeks, he couldn't get it in the green. So he took 2 weeks off of training and just like walked and ran.
Oh, interesting. And it went in the green?
In that, not only did it go back in the green, his energy levels went up, his body composition improved.
Wow.
And he wasn't lifting weights.
Yeah.
But
How
it
about
showed
that?
like how much he had done to his body and like
I tell people to reframe rest days as growth days, because literally
I love
what
that.
you are
I love
doing
that.
when you are working out is tearing your muscles to shreds, okay? And if you don't have a rest day, you won't recover, and you won't give your muscles the ability to rebuild, and you will be spinning in circles.
But that's also why the programming at Rue is what it is. And there are days where there's no barbell. There are days where there's no heavy lifting, and people get fucking disappointed. They get disappointed. Well, I want to lift heavy. Well,
watch my coffee.
oh, sorry. I'll clean it up. But I'm like, guess what? You can't do that every day. You can't do it every day.
No.
You can't do it every day. You got to be able to chill. All right. And so take a rest day, do a little endurance workout, come get on the rower for 30 minutes, but calm yourself.
Okay, so I just want to recap things that cause short-term weight gain that's probably water retention and not fat gain, right? Lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep.
Huge.
Check.
Intense training without rest days.
Check.
What?
Food intolerances. Eating wacky foods.
Yeah. Or not even wacky food.
Plagiarism. Plagiarism.
Oh, no. I've said it a million times, the 800-gram challenge. I didn't realize I was sensitive to nightshade vegetables, and I was eating too many of them. So my water weight went way, way up, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm eating so many nutrients. I'm eating so many veggies, but I'm gaining weight.
I'm sensitive to
water.
pumpkin cheesecake.
Bless your heart.
Stress.
Stress.
Big one. And it's kind of a vicious cycle because if you're freaking out because the number on the scale is getting
You're
bigger.
just increasing your stress.
Right. Okay. Eating later in the day.
Oh, yeah. We forgot about this.
/ fiber / higher salt. Eating later in the day, you could just be full of poop and you just need to poop
Yeah,
out.
so I was thinking about this because, my routine is, and we tell everybody to go to the bathroom before they weigh themselves, right? And I was thinking about this because I'm like, man, everybody talks about pooping before they get on the scale, but like,
you don't poop in the morning.
I don't poop in the morning. Like, I just can't. Like, I not until a certain time.
Right.
And so I realized all these fuckers get to sleep late. That's what it is.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm
Not
up at the
waking
ass crack
4
of
in the
dawn with a
morning,
3-year-old and a
slapping your
7-year-old.
wife in the face.
My kid got up at 5:30 the other day, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is my time.
bed.
I get up early so I don't have you little goblins running around the house.
Fiber is also another
Oh,
big
if you
one.
eat too late.
Oh, yeah.
If you eat too late,
yeah.
then that poo is, I can't remember what it's called. Then gastric something.
Okay.
Whatever. But anyway, it's still in the process of,
You're still digesting.
you're still digesting it. And it's,
Full of
still in there.
3 pounds of poop.
yeah.
All right. Fiber too. Fiber is essentially a pass-through nutrient. So it bulks stool. So if you eat something with a lot of fiber the day before, that can cause temporary weight gain.
If you have a Toto toilet, you should go on a low-fiber diet. And use not a heavy paper. The flushing mechanism on the Toto toilet is not amazing.
Okay.
I just switched to a Kohler in our guest bath. I'd like to switch all the toilets, but
Okay.
Well, after our trip, Ryan wants a bidet. So
Oh, I love a bidet. Bidets are fantastic.
he wants one so bad. I'm getting ads for bidets all the time right now.
Nice.
Fucking Google.
The other thing that I just wanted to mention is it takes some time for that excess water retention to get out of your system. So it's not necessarily just a one and done.
About 2
kind of
weeks,
thing.
right?
Yeah, between 7 and 10 days it will take for that water to leave your system. But here's the cool thing. Water retention and fat loss are 2 separate systems, okay? So what tends to happen is people step on the scale, they see the number increase, they freak out, they say this whole diet is full of crap or this whole way of eating is full of crap. What?
This whole diet's full of crap.
This isn't working. I'm sticking to the plan and it's not working, so screw it. I'm going to eat a bunch of candy or whatever it is, okay? They don't stick to the plan. But if you stick to the plan and you have your whole data process super dialed in, regardless of what the scale says, when that water does flush out of your system, you will maintain a fat loss stage because you will know that you are in a caloric deficit because you are maintaining that with your calories. And then when that water leaves, you end up losing lots of weight
Very
like
fast.
that.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Boom.
So I have a question.
Let's hear it.
The whole goal here is to build scale resilience, right? Mm-hmm. What does resilience mean?
Bradley, what does resilience mean?
The ability to bounce back from difficult situations quickly.
Okay, so Bradley,
Elasticity.
if you had a client that was freaking out because of a temporary increase on the scale, knowing what you know now, what would you tell them to do? How would you help build their scale resilience so they stick to the plan regardless of what the scale is saying?
Well, we'd look at the data points first. Okay, that's the very first thing. And I would show them what has happened in the past is also a good indicator for the future, as well as looking at the trends. I normally, not that my story is
Unique.
a good, predictor for other people. However, if I'm experiencing it and I'm doing it, then a lot of other people can. And so normally that gives comfort.
Yeah.
As well. Like it recently did. I've talked to a couple of stack clients based off of this.
But it doesn't mean to change the plan.
No,
like
the
I
plan
had a
is
client recently step on the scale. She was concerned about the number, and she asked, well, can I go back to weekly weigh-ins because seeing the number every single day is messing with my ability to celebrate my small wins in other areas. And I really encouraged her to continue the process of weighing herself every day because I don't want to make recommendations on targets based on feel, right? I want to have data that tells me how to make an informed decision on her behalf, like how to encourage, you know what I mean? And without that data, I cannot do my job the way that I need to.
And I want to say something about that because I actually, I don't know about you guys, but I earlier than most probably switch people to daily weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I see the value in it and exactly what we're talking about. And so what I'll see is a lot of times, if you look at our clients' trackers, if you have a check-in on a Monday or a Tuesday, and that's their weigh-in day, they're going to get pretty disappointed on Monday, Tuesday if they are not consistent through the weekend.
Yeah.
So if you have daily weigh-ins, then you can see weight down, 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 shit show, weight up. And they're like, well, I don't know what happened. And I'm like, well, fucking look. Like, it's pretty clear in the tracker.
Yeah, right? I can see exactly what happened.
So that's why I really encourage daily.
I did the same thing
logs.
with this particular client. She was trending down, but her sleep was like the best it's ever been. And then the sleep got crappy again and the weight went back up. And I was like, without that daily snapshot, I cannot spot that pattern.
Yeah. And I mean, I had a client over Thanksgiving go up maybe half a pound.
Yeah.
But when we looked at her log, even though, like you, everything worked into her macros perfectly, it was not the nutrients she was usually eating.
Yeah. It's
and
pumpkin cheesecake.
Because she had kind of preset herself up a little bit, right? So she was like, it worked. It's not what I normally eat, but I made it work. Oh God, I hope the scale doesn't go up. And now you've created stress.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, and I'm trying to end this podcast, but shit keeps popping up. But
It's good information.
This happened to me a few weeks ago, kind of before like I hit the 160s, where I was kind of stuck at a low 170 number and it bounced around a lot. And one of the recommendations you had for me was what? Do you remember?
Oh, your salt intake?
Yeah, my sodium
Bradley
intake.
was over salting everything.
My sodium intake was through the roof.
Yeah.
And that causes water retention big time. And so that was kind of something that I dealt with. And
Bradley got these like fancy volcanic salts, and he's like doing finishing salts, like fancy bougie stuff. I'm like,
yeah, you were.
Just knock off the salt a little bit.
I've noticed also for me, my sugar intake, even though it's mostly from natural sources, if I can keep it lower, a little lower, I just feel a lot better. I have a lot more energy.
There's a reason why it's called carbohydrates, right? Yeah. There's water molecules associated with carbohydrates. So that can absolutely help make you gain water.
Awesome. So
neat. Build that scale resilience, y'all. And I encourage people to think of it as a data point and ask yourself, what could this be telling me, rather than, oh my gosh, I'm a failure, this plan isn't working.
Well, and like you said in the beginning, getting on the scale, it's going to be really, really hard, I think, for most of us as adults to, like, if we get on the scale and see it go up, for most of us, we've spent most of our life thinking that's a really negative thing. So I'm not going to say like I can take that thought away from you, but hopefully you can have tools. And like you asked Bradley in the beginning, what is the story that you told yourself because of this number going up versus what is actually going on?
Yes.
What is the real story?
I love that.
And so like seeing that thought, because it's probably going to keep coming up. It's fine. That's normal. It's happening for all of us.
Yes.
But can you, from there, have the awareness to go, okay, what's the story? What's the truth?
Yep. 100%.
That's amazing. So, all right. For those of you looking for a place to work out, check us out, Roof Fitness. We do encourage rest days here and mixed modal programming, so you're not just running yourself into a brick wall every day. And if you were looking for something to put you over the top, or really
The foundation.
Let's switch that. Roof Fitness should be the thing that puts you over the top. The foundation is Stacked Coaching. You can go to stackedcoaching.com.
Schedule a free consultation to learn more about our fancy schmancy
$3.
$3. And please like, share, subscribe, 5-star ratings.
Only nice words.
Only nice words. We appreciate all the accolades you want to throw our way.
Side note, I was reading the reviews on Apple today, and they're really nice.
Oh, we should read
I need
some
to do that.
on air.
We should read that. So we'll end with this. Damien,
Oh.
what's his name again? Rabbi.
Oh.
We'll post it in the notes, but here we
I
go.
don't know how to.
It's just a little pump up the jam on the piano with a kick
One-man
drum.
show.
One-man band, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Wish I had this.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.